Welcome to the Tuna Budget Podcast, your source for insights into financial wellness. Today we're diving into alcohol use. At tunabudget.com, home of the Tuna Budget Worksheet Plan and Candid Conversation Memos, we offer resources that simplify budget life planning. We also encourage discussions about real-life challenges affecting our finances. Don't forget to submit your Candid Conversation Memo at tunabudget.com. Let's get started. Alcohol addiction. Apparently, we want to pay the full cost and do nothing about it. If alcohol isn't right up there with the dangers of smoking, what else is? According to the World Health Organization, WHO, on an annual global basis, tobacco use causes more than 8 million deaths, every year. And alcohol is estimated to cause more than 3 million deaths, a year. That's 11 million people dying every single year. And that doesn't count all the destruction these drugs cause to people's shattered lives, their families, and so on. Let's not leave out their tuna budget worksheet plans either, right? Shame on us for not bringing these statistical data to the young children. Recently, worldwide efforts or restrictions or mandates or major disruption were made to protect people and children from the COVID-19 pandemic, where some 5 million global COVID-19 related deaths were reported. These 5 million deaths compared to the annual 11 million deaths each year represent only less than 6 months' deaths from alcohol and tobacco related deaths. Where is the outrage, right? In the past 10 years, assuming these deaths were held constant, there would have been some 110 million deaths, and nobody's saying anything, right? Have you heard anyone raise their hand and say, folks, we have a massive problem here, and more needs to be done to help these children not to use these drugs in the first place, right? And most of these are preventable deaths if people didn't smoke and drink, right? It's a choice. Are we not insane for not pushing the educating of our young children to not use these destructive nicotine and alcohol drugs? Of course, the difference is COVID-19 was not optional, but using alcohol and nicotine drug is optional. Apparently no one cares or will speak up that some 110 million people have died from alcohol and tobacco drug use in the past 10 years, or approximately that amount. And another 100 million plus over the next 10 years, right? Should we stand silently and idly by and say and do nothing? How absurd. Hopefully you're sick and tired too of the death and the destruction caused by just these two deadly drugs. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, also known as the CDC, I'm sure you've heard about, and other sources available in this that are posted in the podcast transcript, offer the following alarming facts about the health risks associated with alcohol addiction. Let's go through these, Liver diseases. Excessive alcohol consumption is a leading cause of liver diseases such as alcoholic liver disease, cirrhosis, and liver cancer. Chronic alcohol abuse can lead to a fatty liver. Inflammation or alcoholic hepatitis, fibrosis, and ultimately cirrhosis, which is characterized by irreversible scarring of the liver tissue. Alcohol-related liver diseases account for approximately 48% of the liver-related deaths globally. The risk of developing alcoholic liver disease increases with the amount and duration of alcohol consumption. For example, heavy drinkers are at a significantly higher risk of developing cirrhosis compared to moderate or non-drinkers. Liver cancer risk is elevated among individuals with alcoholic cirrhosis, with heavy drinkers having a 3 to 4 times higher risk of developing liver cancer compared to non-drinkers. And what about cardiovascular disorders? While moderate alcohol consumption may have some cardiovascular benefits, some say, excessive drinking increases the risk of cardiovascular disorders such as hypertension, cardiomyopathy, atrial fibrillation, and stroke. And heavy alcohol consumption can lead to high blood pressure, which is a major risk factor for heart disease and stroke. Chronic heavy drinkers weakens the heart muscle, leading to cardiomyopathy, a condition that impairs the heart's ability to pump blood effectively. Binge drinking episodes can trigger irregular heart rhythms, such as arterial fibrillation, increasing the risk of stroke and heart failure. Alcohol-related cardiovascular disorders are responsible for a significant proportion of alcohol-attributable deaths globally. Neurological disorders. Prolonged alcohol abuse can cause various neurological disorders, including alcohol-induced brain damage, cognitive impairment, and neuropathy. Chronic heavy drinking can lead to shrinkage of brain tissue, impairing cognitive functions such as memory, attention, and even decision-making. Alcohol-related dementia, known as alcohol-related brain impairment, is a significant cause of cognitive decline and dementia among heavy drinkers. Peripheral neuropathy, characterized by numbness, tingling, and pain in the extremities, is a common neurological complication of long-term alcohol abuse. Mental health disorders. Alcohol addiction is strongly associated with mental health disorders such as depression, anxiety, bipolar disorder, and suicidal behavior. Heavy alcohol consumption can exacerbate symptoms of depression and anxiety, leading to a vicious cycle of drinking to cope with mental distress. Alcohol abuse is a significant risk factor for suicide too, with individuals with alcohol use disorder having a much higher risk of suicidal ideation and attempts. Co-occurring alcohol use disorder and mental health disorders require integrated treatment for approaches for optimal outcomes. Social and economic consequences. Alcohol addiction can have profound social and economic consequences, including impaired relationships, decreased productivity, financial hardship, and legal problems. Alcohol-related absenteeism and reduced productivity in the workplace cost employers billions of dollars annually. Heavy drinking contributes to family conflicts, domestic violence, child neglect, and divorce, impacting the well-being of individuals and families. Alcohol-related motor vehicle accidents and injuries impose significant healthcare costs and burdens on emergency services and healthcare systems. Alcohol-related crime, including violence, assault, and public disturbances, strain law enforcement resources and contributes to societal harm and disorder. This short ad is sponsored by the Debt Crisis Problem Podcast. Attention, listeners. Please join us at tunabudget.com to join into the Debt Crisis Problem Podcast, where in plain English we discuss the 20 risks that could soon fuel a serious economic downturn. We explore these critical risks and offer practical insights for navigating financial uncertainty. Join us for thought-provoking discussions that encourage transparency and more awareness. And subscribe now to stay informed and be ready for whatever comes next. The prevalence of lifetime drinking. What's interesting is that people, maybe you too, don't seem to really care all that much about their bodies. It's almost as if it's as though they lost something precious, perhaps a special knowledge like who they really are. It's almost as if they lost hope or something. They don't care if using alcohol will destroy their bodies or not. On the other side of this are those who would protect their bodies at all costs. They don't want pain, and they don't want to suffer. They completely know that to use drugs like alcohol will ultimately result in self-destruction, sickness, premature death, and so on. With the prevalent use of tobacco, alcohol, marijuana, and other destructive addictive drugs, this will soon result in a large segment of society, the world over, that becomes sick. Okay? The National Institute on Alcohol Abuse and Alcoholism shows striking facts that should be of a serious concern to all reasonable people. Look at these stats. Okay? This is people between ages 12 and older, according to the National Survey on Drug Use and Health. 221.3 million people ages 12 and older, that's 78% in this age group, reported that they drank alcohol at some point in their lifetime. So this includes 110 million males ages 12 and older, okay, and 111 million females ages 12 and older. And for youth ages 12 to 17, according to the same survey, 5.7 million youth, again, ages 12 through 17, reported that they drank alcohol at some point in their lifetime. This is 2.7 million young boys and 3.1 million young girls. How about adults ages 18 and over? According to the same survey, 215 million adults 18 and over reported that they drank alcohol at some point in their lifetime. The emerging trend, high-intensity drinking. Have you heard of high-intensity drinking? It's an emerging trend. And the CDC defines high-intensity drinking as a pattern of alcohol consumption involving the consumption of alcohol at levels that significantly exceed binge drinking thresholds. This pattern of drinking is associated with an increased risk of alcohol-related harms, including injuries, accidents, and alcohol poisoning, unquote. And as was mentioned, people really don't care or have that much, if any, hope in life to intentionally destroy their bodies, right? Themselves. Hopefully you're not one of these people. You're not in that camp. Of course, on a very positive note, there is a solution for every problem. You will get what you want, or become the sum of your individual daily decisions. If you want to get past using drugs like alcohol, you will. There is always help, and there is always hope. Let the desire spark within you, like a little, maybe it's not a massive burning fire yet, but at least like a little flame on a candle, Let that desire spark. It's more than a spark. It's a little flame, like on the end of a candle. And that's within you, right? Let it turn into a raging flame of strength. If you want to kick alcohol use, you can and you will, with whatever help it takes to get there. This high-intensity drinking business, though, this nonsense, is just plain nuts, and so don't ever go there. Now I'd like to conclude with a few candid questions. Should young elementary children not be taught the harmful effects of using alcohol and nicotine drugs? Should they not be shown pictures showing how these drugs literally destroy the body and even share the number of annual deaths and other issues, and be encouraged to never start using these drugs? Is there anyone in your life that you could possibly reach out to and humbly approach for some guidance and some love and some hope? Is there an organization that helps at a cost that you can afford to get help? Of course there are. You have to find them. How far and at what cost have your addictions taken you already? And what have you already lost? And what do you stand to lose? Are you earnestly seeking and desiring to get your addictions behind you once and for all? And what are you willing to give to sacrifice to change? And how best should that change take place? Do you really know what you need to do, but are just too chained to the addiction? Are you addicted to the alcohol drug? Thank you for joining us. Today we explored alcohol use, highlighting the importance of open conversations in financial wellness. We want to hear from you at tunabudget.com. Please submit your own Candid Conversation memo and share your thoughts. If you enjoyed today's episode, please subscribe for future podcasts. Until next time, visit tunabudget.com for your free Tuna Budget Worksheet Plan, the most powerful budget worksheet plan in the world, yours. Thanks again.